Order of operations. Which of these answers is correct? On the left, I have 4 plus 5 times 8, then 9 times 8, which equals 72. On the right, I have 4 plus 5 times 8, 4 plus 40, and then equals 44. So is the answer to this problem 72 or 44? What do you think? To answer the question about which answer was correct on the previous slide, we need to follow an order. The order of operations when you're solving mixed operation problems is GEMDAS. The G stands for grouping, which in 4th grade are parentheses. So for example, you may have numbers like 10 minus 5. These parentheses are grouping the 10 minus 5, and you're going to have to do that first before you do anything else or solve any other part of the expression. Second one is your exponents. Your exponents are, for example, 3 to the 2nd power. My exponent is a 2, and that 2 tells me that I'm going to multiply my base number, which is 3, times itself 2 times. So 3 to the 2nd power is equal to 3 times 3, which is equal to 9. So my base number, 3, times itself 2 times. 1, 2. That's what my exponent says. The next step that you would take is your multiplication or your division. And you're going to multiply or divide in order from left to right, depending which of those two comes first. And then your last thing in the order of operations is addition or subtraction. And just like multiplication and division, you're going to add or subtract in order from left to right. So you're going to be reading these expressions like you read a book, from left to right, and solving it piece by piece, step by step. So your first step is your G, or your groupings. Your second step is your exponents. Your third step is your multiplication or division. And your last step is your addition or subtraction. The correct answer is 44, because when we look at this problem, we have addition, and then we have multiplication. And our rule tells us that you need to multiply or divide from left to right first before you add or subtract. So you needed to multiply 5 times 8 first. So the 4, you just bring it down with the addition sign, and then you solve. 5 times 8 is 40. And then you have one operation left, and that's where you get your 44, which is the answer to this expression. So let's do some problems. All right, so on this problem, I have addition and multiplication. So according to my order, I'm going to do this first. So I'm going to rewrite, and just like I'm underlining, you should highlight what you're doing first when you do it so you don't forget. And then you rewrite everything on the bottom. So I'm going to have 22 plus 18 times 2, 36, plus 4. And now I'm going to add, okay? So I'm going to underline my next step. And now I'm going to have 58 plus 4, which is 62. And that's the answer to that problem. So in this problem, you had to multiply first, and then you had to add. Okay? Next problem. This one I have subtraction, multiplication, and multiplication. All right, so I'm going to multiply first. And I'm just going to bring everything down. 54 minus 4 times 3 is 12. Times 2. Then I have to multiply again because I multiply before I subtract. So I'm going to bring down my 54 minus 12 times 2, 24. And now all I have left is subtraction, so I can just subtract, and my answer is 30. Let's look at another one. Here's another problem. This one, I have parentheses, so I'm going to do that first. You may want to pause the video, solve the expression, and then play the video so that you can see whether or not you're solving these correctly. So I'm going to say 28 minus 2 times 3. I don't have any exponents, so now I'm going to see what do I do next. Well, I have subtraction and multiplication. My rule says I multiply before I subtract, so that's going to be next. So 28 minus 2 times 3 is 6. And I have one operation left, 28 minus 6, which is 22. So the answer to this problem is 22. Let's look at another one. This one has parentheses, but no exponents. So I'm going to do my parentheses first. So I'm going to have 8 plus 7 times 9 is 63 minus 12. Now I look and I have addition and subtraction, but my order says that you add or subtract whichever comes first, left to right. So left to right, this comes first. So I'm going to add 63 plus 8, or 8 plus 63, which is 71, minus 12. And then I'm going to subtract. If you cannot figure that out horizontally, feel free to write it on the side vertically and solve that part of your problem if you need to see the regrouping, just like I'm doing here on the side. And I say for you to do this so that you don't make a subtraction error when you're doing your order of operations correctly. So 71 minus 12 is 59. And that would be the answer to this problem. Okay, so this one doesn't have parentheses, but has an exponent. And let's remember what the exponent tells us. It tells us how many times you multiply the base number times itself. So 7 times 7, if I were to do a little speech bubble for myself, right? 7 to the second power is 7 times 7. Or, I'm going to do that first, it would be 49. And then I would bring down everything else. Minus 37 plus 9 times 3. Now, my rule says that when I have subtraction, addition, and multiplication, I have to multiply before I add or subtract. So I'm going to do this next. So I'm going to rewrite 49 minus 37 plus 27. And then what comes next? I'm going to subtract first because it comes first left to right. So 9 minus 7 is 2, 4 minus 3 is 1, plus 27. And now I'm going to add. 7 plus 2 is 9, 2 plus 1 is 3. So the answer to this expression is 39. And the last problem that we're going to do today, this one has parentheses and exponents. So first we're going to start with our grouping because that's our first step. So I would start with this first. So I would rewrite 3 to the third plus 11 times 7 is 77 minus 43. Then next comes my exponent, and let's remember that 3 to the third means 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9 times 3, that's going to be 27 plus 77 minus 43. And then I'm going to add before I subtract because it comes first left to right. And again, if you need to see that so you can regroup, write it on the side. 27 plus 77. Here's my 14. I'm regrouping. And I have 10. So that's going to be 104 minus 43. And then I just have to subtract. And again, write it on the side if you need to so that you can do that regrouping and get your subtraction correct. You don't want to lose points making addition and subtraction errors. 4 minus 3 is 1. And this is going to be 6. So 61 plus 43 equals 104. So my answer is going to be 61.